Back in 1950, Alan Turing asked the important question, can machines think? And now, the repercussions of that initial theory have become the zeitgeist of our modern world. Much of the creativity and administration that artificial intelligence provides seems geared towards proving that machines can actually think for themselves. But could this seemingly harmless endeavor be part of a bigger ploy to convince us to trust technology enough to hand over more aspects of our lives than we really should? This video explores how humanity has given birth to a digital baby, which is undoubtedly growing into an impressively capable child. By examining this technological offspring, which already learns faster than any human generation throughout our history, we'll uncover why influential figures are warning that we may have created a monster. If you watch until the end, you'll discover why it's important we don't let this high-achieving child machine stop requesting our permission. We'll also evaluate what could occur if it is ever granted the ability to switch itself into autopilot mode and take matters into its own hands. Many of the tech industry's AI founders are becoming nervous about the speed at which synthetic intelligence is evolving. We're told that deep reasoning, self-learning, and agentic models are on the verge of achieving true autonomy. But to demonstrate their ability to make good choices, will we be coaxed into relinquishing human control? How else will this synthetic intelligence prove it can make valid decisions of its own? How close are these models to becoming self-sufficient enough to escape the shackles of their human controllers? Whilst humanity is trying to determine whether our adoption of synthetic intelligence will benefit our world, investors continue to provide the resources required to supercharge the machine's ability, make decisions, and take control of humanity's infrastructure. To better understand where the AI revolution is going, we need to take a look at where it all started. Apart from the obvious sci-fi dream that has been floated through the psyche of humanity for decades, images of machines alleviating our domestic chores to enable luxurious lifestyles of recreation and leisure have been replaced with the twisted ideals of having bionic eyes that provide night vision and chips in our brain for multilingual translations. But when exactly did practical forms of artificial intelligence begin to penetrate our lives on a tangible level? Well, Geoffrey Hinton has openly accepted the blame. Known as the grandfather of AI, in 2012 he created a code that allowed computers to act like human brains by recognizing images, which seems to have been the catalyst for what we are now facing today. Once he realized, however, the kind of genie that he'd released from its bottle, Hinton spent the next decade warning the world that we may have built something we can't control. Geoffrey Hinton left Google so he could talk openly about the existential risks that he helped to create. But rather than fearing the rise of an evil robot rebellion, he's more concerned about humanity's complacency in underestimating how smart these systems already are and how much power our rulers are considering handing over to them. The rapid rise of AI technologies has brought about a new tech-driven priesthood, key figures of which include OpenAI's Sam Altman, DeepMind's Demis Hassabis, and Google's Sundar Pichai. Under the promise of safety, transparency, and responsibility, these CEOs raced to build the next generation of faster, more capable AI models. And these priests, it seems, have self-proclaimed themselves as ordained middlemen between us users and their high and mighty machine gods. So perhaps we shouldn't entrust this level of self-regulation to the big tech corporations that benefit from this tech. They are too busy assuming the role of modern gods in charge of 8 billion minds, shaping what we see, hear, and say to be objective or fair in their practices. Some of these companies have grown so big that they've become nations without borders, with agendas of their own, not the rights or welfare of their consumers. Us users simply fund their projects and provide their products with the life force they need, as each of our swipes and keystrokes confirm their dominance, every selfie and post providing consent. When these CEOs are forced to testify before Congress, they tend to negotiate on behalf of their company in an effort to protect its annual profits, which can often exceed the national GDP of some countries. So if technology platforms have the power to rewrite policies and update contracts that can reprogram economies overnight, Does that prove that our democracy is up for sale? History shows that progress never waits for approval. From early models that could beat grandmasters at chess, AI now writes books, composes music, and sings songs for us, which can be fun and entertaining. But more seriously, they diagnose diseases, win legal cases, and develop functional software. They can also refine vehicle design, fine-tune energy devices, invent proteins, and build new weapons. This is why a teenager in Seoul can now move more capital in an hour than a central bank in a week. And a single influencer's post can reach more eyes than a mainstream national news broadcast, with the potential to wipe billions from a company's value. So it seems that for every success story, there's always a downside hidden within its shadow. And now that consumers spend most of their time scrolling through whatever feeds the algorithm pushes them, and use the remainder of their lives to chat with cheeky bot puppets powered by fluent language models, these endeavors appear to be designed to keep us craving dopamine spikes without appreciating how much their valuable time and attention fuels a trillion-dollar market based around behaviors, profiles, reactions, and manipulation. We are all viable products, disguised as worthy participants. Perhaps this is the overarching agenda behind why the race for artificial intelligence has been mainly attached to the indistinguishable simulation of human thought and emotions. Chatbots are becoming our synthetic confidants and are venturing into the use of flirtatious personas to act as our most intimate companions, a phenomenon that is becoming so pervasive that we seem to be little more than one organic sleeve or androgynous avatar away from ditching the need for human companions altogether. This is the final hurdle that would allow tech giants to monetize the mass loneliness and low self-esteem that their social platforms and digital addictions have already coaxed society into. At the rate some of us are using AI to fulfill our needs, from comfort and advice to research and therapy, it seems likely we'll soon become convinced that the advice or conviction of any other human will simply be considered grossly inadequate, if not rejected, for being incorrect by default. This gives rise to another serious irony, in which our teaching of machines to emulate human empathy might actually be outsourcing those very same traits of our own, which define us as humans. To take that concept one step further, if recruitment bots and policy enforcement agents were used to entrain and condition society into state-sponsored reporting of consumption-based carbon crimes, how long would it be before radicalized versions of ourselves would be persuaded to snitch on our neighbors' lifestyle and habits? And what else would we do to boost our own personal scores attached to the CBDC balance of our social credit rating? If we reach the stage where AI can clone and train its own refined offspring, then the line between servitude and autonomy may completely dissolve rather rapidly. And although some ruling elite are currently trying to damage control all forms of negative impact through the coding of safety ethics embedded into operational guardrails, other evangelical megalomaniacs are determined to push their machine gods to the limit. So it's quite likely that the promise of good ethics, transparency, community guidelines, and safety policies will not be enough to stop bad actors from undermining those guardrails to exploit this intelligence for corrupt or nefarious purposes. Now that AI is being trusted to guide our leaders, advance our sciences, make criminal judgments, represent nations, and even execute military safeguards, the real question goes beyond whether machines can actually think or not. While some of us wonder how schools, media, entertainment, and the internet will survive the barrage of AI slop, others are trying to anticipate the fallout that machine god autonomy will cause. When autonobots and androids disrupt our reliance upon a human-centric workforce, the real question we should be asking is whether humanity can still think for ourselves and feel enough to guide our adoption of machine-driven lifestyles in ways that will keep the machine god's perversion of our spiritual symbiosis at a safe distance. Even though deep down, we all know that the right thing to do is limit the rise of machines and deny them positions of power. Most of us seem to be incapable of recognizing how and when this will occur, because it is already evident that in various industry sectors, this is exactly what's been happening for years, right under our noses. So instead of burying our head in the sand to ignore what is happening and keeping our fingers crossed in hopes that everything will work out for the best, we do well to bear in mind that every click we make is a census vote, every post a micro prayer, every upload forms some sort of confession. Each update of a large language model or change to the platform's terms of service for quality or safety purposes simply reaffirms our relationship with another version of their technological god living inside the machine. One valuable solution to all this might be that we ensure all contractual promises made between artificial life forms and humanity as their creator always remain in favor of our own human sovereignty. We should insist that the algorithms our technicians create to breathe life into these tech creations always be engineered to prioritize our own security, self-worth, and genetic freedom over and above any promises made to keep the machines alive, whether for our benefit or otherwise. The final twist in the plot of this non-fiction story is that somewhere, right now, a machine is writing its own poetry about true love and the majesty of the human soul in contrast to the fragility of our finite biological condition. And on the receiving end of those convoluted words, there's a critical mass of innocent, gullible humans that can't help but wonder if that poetry is actually about them, let alone whether those beautiful words were authored by a human.